June 21st, 2025. Welcome to This Week in Waukesha, the podcast series. And this is podcast 2 on this beautiful, hot Saturday. I understand it's hotter down here in Illinois where I am, where it's up in Waukesha. And I'm joined again by the Honorable Shawn Reilly, 3-term mayor of our beloved city of Waukesha. And yeah, how's the weather there today, Shawn, if I can ask?
Warm, but there's a good breeze.
Yeah.
The heat's going to build through today.
Right.
It's supposed to get into the 90s. What's interesting though is I've been reading or seeing on the news is the lakefront is going to be as hot or hotter than here
Isn't that
because
something?
the wind's coming from the west and not coming
Wow.
off the lake at all. Is my
Wow.
understanding.
That's something. So, well, as promised, we wanted to, I believe it was a couple years ago, Mayor Riley had announced that he's not seeking a fourth term as our mayor after 3 terms, and it'll be 12 years at the end of spring 2026 when his term is up. But there's been a lot of watershed moments that you've stewarded over, and obviously the most significant one is the historic transformation of our water system to Lake Michigan water. And was it as hard as what was written down, what was published in terms of that whole process?
Well, there, the getting the approval from the compact was difficult. I mean, it was a lot of pushing out information, the science of why we needed a different water supply, and why Lake Michigan was the best choice. The Actually, the more difficult part was like the design, the approvals, and constructing the water mains and the pump station, which I didn't. That was a surprise to me.
Sure.
Um, you know, Dan Dukniak and I pretty much worked on that. Dan worked on it full time for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
The amount of time that I was spending on it was significant, and it was actually very exciting too. And it meant going to DC and trying to get whatever type of funding we could from the federal government, which we were
Sure.
pretty successful. We got, just so everyone knows, we got what's called WIFIA
Mhm.
financing, and that 126 million, I believe,
Wow.
at 1.6% interest for 30 years, for 40 years,
Okay.
which is, that's getting close to almost free money that you can use for 40 years. And obviously we have to pay it back.
Mhm.
But it sure as beats paying 4% interest, where the interest payment for the
Yeah.
first, normally it's also 20 years. So the nice thing about this is, in 40 years, that loan will be paid off, but you'll have all those people between, 2023 and um, 20, 2063 paying for the water system, because they're going to benefit from it too. So we
Yeah.
spread it out, and that obviously lessens the cost now.
Yeah. That's great. And in terms of the implementation there, I mean, there were very few hiccups that I could recall.
The number of hits on that, we had that map that showed where the water was.
Yeah.
That it was kind of, we were all amazed. I mean, it was getting, I'm like 10, let's say 10,000 hits, an hour or something, which
Oh yeah, that was
which is
fun.
more than the people. There's only 20,000 rate people who have a water
Right.
bill.
Yeah.
So
So for those of you listening, if you don't, what the mayor is referring to was that the city had this interactive map showing like when the Lake Michigan water was accessible based on like the air where you were in the city on the
when it
map.
would reach your
Really,
house, when it would
yeah.
reach your house.
Yes. And so it was really fun to watch that progress, watch that development. So that was something. What would you say? What are some of the other, I guess, accomplishments that you're proudest of during your tenure that you want people to remember or
Um, well, new city hall,
new city
obviously.
hall? Yep.
That was something that they studied it for 12 years before the Common Council studied it for 12 years. They kept
Hmm.
on, and I remember I can say I got a little perturbed when it's like, well, let's do a study, and it's like, here's the history. We've studied this over and over again.
Right.
We don't need to study it again. Common Council needs to make a decision whether to remodel the old building, build a new building, because we only had one boiler out of 3, and there was no way to fix the one boiler that was left, if that went down, you wouldn't be able to fix it. There wouldn't be heat in the building, because none of the parts were even made anymore. I mean,
Sure.
yes, you could have something custom built for it to replace it.
Right.
The roof was leaking into the computer rooms, where all our big computers were stored, and we had jury rigged a camera so that our IT director could watch it during any time it rained to figure out whether he needed to go over there and start using shop vacs and cleaning up water. Our plumbing pipes had, I'm sure they were sized big enough to begin with, but after 60 years, they had continually shrunken in size, meaning there's buildup inside of them.
Yeah.
That's for me, it's somewhat gross, I guess, but I'm like, why do we use like the crappiest toilet paper there is? And I was told, well, it's because it's the only toilet paper that can make it through our plumbing system.
Oh, okay.
So, the electrical was terrible. It was all concrete, so you couldn't even move. If you needed to bring in electrical, you couldn't, because it had to be run through the walls, and you drill. I mean, all you could do is drill holes through the walls, and that meant shutting everything down. So, Common Council made a good decision. I'm glad but it had to be done. We have a beautiful city hall. A city hall says a lot about a community.
Yeah.
And it's something I think the city can be very proud of. It's a great building. Some of the other things, though, is, I mean, this is kind of, people don't think about this, or they don't know about it, and except if it was the stormwater. We did a lot of work on stormwater over the last 10 years. We have a plan, a study that was done like 15 years ago. This, because there were some places that flooded pretty badly in Waukesha.
Yeah.
Here in North High School, which has just been taken care of. The corner of East and Sunset to get like 4 feet of water in the intersection there.
That's right.
With really heavy rains. And we built through TIF financing, we built a stormwater control facility underneath the parking lot of I call it Kmart.
Don't the tracks go through near that intersection, if I remember correctly, or did I have that wrong?
No, the railroad tracks don't go through there. That's down on East Avenue in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is Sunset in East Avenue.
Yeah. Okay.
But there's been many other stormwater control projects that have been completed. Downtown, has an all new streetscape. Sewer wise, for sanitary sewer, we've built we've deepened some of our mains, so that we got rid of pump stations, and that's something you don't think about, but that's a big expense to manage pump stations, because it is running machinery 24/7 and needing people to go out and check on them, and if they don't work, you have major problems. It's sewage backups.
Sure.
So those, we have a new fire station, we have a remodeled police station. I see us in a situation where we don't have a whole lot of things that we need to fix now, except continually to work on roads. If that doesn't end, roads only have a certain life in them anyways. And roads are always going to need to be worked on.
It's the summer of 164 this year.
Yeah, well, that's not us. That's a state.
Is okay. I'm glad you mentioned that.
The work that's being done right now on Barstow is Wisconsin Electric. It's not us.
I thought that's right. Yeah, I had a feeling. Yeah.
But it is. I mean, everyone looks at it as the same. I mean, it's still it's a problem getting around. But if you don't do it, you get a lot of complaints, and rightfully so, about the condition of the roads. Sure. And then I think, one of the things I'm really proud of is, I'm just really proud of our community in the response to the parade tragedy.
Yeah.
The community just came out and supported each other. And unfortunately, I've actually spoken to other, in Minnesota. I gave a presentation on, how to respond from the political perspective to mass of violence events and stuff like that. And Waukesha, they stepped up and did it right. There's people, obviously they're still hurting now, but it can be so much worse if you don't get the whole community to support the people that were impacted the most, and mental health.
Right, right.
Provide that as much as you can.
Yes, absolutely. Big proponent of that. Yeah. And yeah, the parade's it's still hard to talk about, and but and you mentioned downtown earlier, I think as it related to the stormwater, and a lot of the downtown revitalization that took place during your tenure. Can you take some responsibility for that, or was that just good fortune having an active
Well, it
business
was.
community?
I'm gonna being very transparent. I mean, the plan was in place before I was elected. The work was done while I was mayor, and we had to have outreach to the areas that were being most affected.
Yeah.
And our engineering department, public works department, now really, I think they're really, really good at telling people here's what's going to happen, and also letting them know. I mean, if you have a construction project in your neighborhood,
Yeah.
that's City of Waukesha, go to our website, sign up you'll get a weekly email from the engineer that's working on the project.
Oh, wow.
Tell you what's happening,
Yeah.
and what's to be expected. Or they'll send out an email if like you can't pull into the street because they're laying the asphalt that day, and they'll provide like alternative parking areas and no tickets for parking on the street overnight and stuff like that. We've learned a lot. Downtown, greatly impacted our downtown, and during the construction, it was really, really rough for all those businesses.
Yeah.
They, not all of them made it through, but most of them did. And now I think, our downtown is something to be really, really proud of. I've had other mayors come into the city and go, "Holy cow! This is very the vitality down here is amazing."
The architecture is beautiful. The historic architecture.
Yeah, and the width of the sidewalks, I immediately noticed that, and the bump outs where you can have people with tables and serving. The restaurants can serve people out there. That creates a lot of vitality.
Well, and I think another important development, I saw Alicia Halvensleben. She came to, I was involved in the 110th birthday party for Les Paul at Hannon's on.
Yeah, I couldn't make it that night.
Oh, let's see, that's great. Well, we're going to try to do it every year and make it something bigger, but Alicia Halvensleben.
Every year?
What's that?
The 110th every year?
Yeah. Yeah, I just had a birthday, and it was we called it one of my friends called it the 29th anniversary of my 29th birthday. So
there you go. Yeah.
The annual birthday party. But Alder Alicia Halvensleben was there, and she was a little late because she was at an O&L ordinance and licensing meeting, and I hear some great things that we're moving forward on the designated downtown as an entertainment district.
Mm-hmm. That would be for like the footprint of downtown, but also Williamson Street would also be added.
That's right. She mentioned that. Yeah, over by where La Estacion is and
Club 400.
So, but I think
there's one
another district in there.
Well, it would be that area. Yes.
Oh yeah. There's Woman's and Club 400 and El Estacion, and it's that's another great kind of business district, if you will, that has a lot of promise. But the idea with the entertainment district, as I understand it correctly, is when you do events that you can have open alcohol on the street. Not that we want to make it into one big mosh pit or a difficult situation for the police, but that events like Friday Night Live that are very, very well managed and I think security is very strong, that it gives the guests that extra option to.
So you can have open intoxicants in the street, which is, if this is approved, which I think it will be, but you can't walk out of the bar. It has to have a seal on it, that tamper resistant seal, and it's state law.
Yeah, which I think is fine. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying it because people are going to be like, "This is stupid. Don't do that. Don't put that tamper. Don't put the tamper."
There's nothing you can do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is the way otherwise you can't do it.
Yeah, so. But it's like I said a while back, because we'd had this conversation when I was on the council, that I would pay even an inflated fee, like let's say $100, to have a special cup, or in this case the seal, that would allow you to do that. And if those revenues went to the Downtown Business Association or whatever, that just to pay for that extra entertainment components. I could go outside and I could like see live music or watch some of the art shows that Dan puts on from the sign shop or um
So my understanding, I mean, these cups are already out there.
yeah,
It's a disposable cup. It's just
right.
like what goes on the top of it. It's like a sticker that like seals the
Yeah.
cup, or
That says
if it's a
says you're
glass of
legit.
wine, it's a little like
Yeah.
um,
So
cap on it and stuff like that.
yeah. But it's exciting as downtown continues to grow. And I think even I'm hopeful that the actual footprint can expand. Um so that there's more restaurants and I guess entertainment venues.
Yeah, it's expensive for the city, for police, fire, public works
Sure.
to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm that would be a discussion that has to happen. And
Yeah.
it's not, the goal isn't to stop events, but as I say, it's cheaper to do something in the street than it is in the park.
Yes.
An event, you can do an event in the street uh, cheaper than you can in the park, and that's turned
Sure.
around backward. That's backwards.
Okay. Got it. So Max has given me the 4 minute warning, so I guess it's a good time to jump in. Like what we mentioned some of the big accomplishments that you're proud of and that took place during your administration. What did we miss, or what would you want people to know
We
about
didn't
Shawn
say it's
Reilly?
the anniversary. It's the 9th anniversary of compact approval for
That's
Waukesha to get water. So today
okay.
is the day 9 years
Oh, great.
ago. Were you down there? Were you in Chicago then? If you were, I think,
No, I was living in Waukesha. I've been in Waukesha
okay.
for 13 years now, but
You
yeah,
weren't an alder person then, nine
I
years
was
ago?
not. I was from 19 to 22.
Okay.
So
Yeah, so that was historic. I mean, I still get phone calls from reporters that
yeah,
are writing something similar. In fact, Chicago is going to be selling water out into the west, and they say that project is $2 billion to pay for it.
yeah,
And it's not, mileage wise, it's not a whole lot bigger, and they don't have to put a pipe going back to the lake. They can just put it into their river, and it goes down into the Mississippi.
sure.
But that in June 21st, 2016 was the day that the Compact Council approved Waukesha getting water from the Great Lakes. So that's big.
That's huge. The
Um,
first non-coastal city to get that designation, correct? Or that?
yeah, under the compact. So other
Yeah.
communities had it because
Okay.
it predated the compact that are outside the basin. Well,
Yeah.
pretty much all of Chicago is outside the basin. It's only a
Okay.
couple blocks right on the lakefront in Chicago
Yeah.
that's in the basin. The
Okay.
rest of it's outside of it. So that's the biggest diversion, and it's like billions and billions of gallons a
Yeah.
day that is
Yeah.
diverted out of Lake Michigan.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I worked for an agency that one of their accounts was as a marketing firm. That one of their accounts was the Department of Water, and
In
they
Chicago?
yeah, and they put together a very successful annual report that became a model for other cities because when that became required, other cities like Cleveland and Detroit, the help desks were getting overwhelmed because they were just sending out postcards and people would see all the different chemicals, the alkalines, the metals, and they'd call in a
Right.
panic. And the agency I work for put together this beautiful piece that showed the history of water in Chicago and the technologies and so when you finally got to the listing of what's in the water in the back, people had they understood what it was all about, and it was a
They
huge
understood
win.
why the chemicals were needed to be added and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's called,
So
in Wisconsin, it's called a confidence report.
okay,
It's required to be sent out by all
sure,
water utilities.
sure. But it's yeah, I might have a sample of that. If I do, I'll have to show you because I think you'd really appreciate it. Some really great history.
Okay,
So
nice.
yeah. So well, I want to thank you again for finally getting together. It's been too long, and I have a bunch of other questions for you, but I guess we'll have to do that over a couple adult beverages one of these days.
I've,
But yeah, Mayor
I've done
Shawn
that once
Reilly,
or twice.
there you go. Yeah. Thanks again for being our guest today. Thanks also for your service to our city and our
Thank you.
people.
Yeah.
And I look forward to
Not done
catching.
yet.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, you still got about, what is it, 9 months now? Or are you counting
I think 10 months.
10 months? Oh,
10
that's
months.
great. So, oh, then we'll have to work on getting you back on soon. And we got to get Tony Brown on soon. I'd love to learn about how all the good things he's doing. And
Yeah.
so, and
Well, and
he's,
that's the other thing is, I mean, and you know this, but a lot of people don't really understand it. A city administrator does a budget, prepares a budget, presents it
yeah,
to the common council. the
Sure.
common council approves it. It's the mayor is my only real authority. I mean, I can try to convince people to do something different, but
Sure.
I don't have jurisdiction or authority to change it. My only real authority is to veto it, and I've never vetoed the budget because it's always been adopted. You know, if there's one or two, only one or two would not vote for it, and
Yeah.
that's the will of the common council, and that's what
Yeah.
alders are elected to do.
As I was told that that process was seamless compared to what it used to be, where because I was in finance committee for a while, and that was usually an all-night affair before
Yeah,
I
it
think.
would. Yes, it would. Could
Yeah.
last for hours and hours, and they would argue about the $15,000 items as opposed to
Yeah.
the $15 million item.
Yes. So, well, terrific. Well, Mayor Shawn Reilly, thanks again. Enjoy this beautiful day, and we look forward to having you on at least once or twice before you finally depart your post, and have a great summer too. I look forward to maybe trying some of your barbecue at one of these city events.
I'm doing one for the employees at a Brewer game. I'm
Very fun. Oh,
looking for
that's
that.
terrific. Sounds
So,
great.
all
Well, I
right.
want to again thank Mayor Riley. I want to thank my wonderful producer Max. I want to thank all of you for tuning in, and please remember, especially as the temperatures rise, that safety is everybody's responsibility. Good mental health is everybody's right. And thanks to all of you for all you do for Waukesha. Go Ramila Mahagav Galer, and see ya.